Alright guys, welcome to another video. Oh, don't mind me, I'm out of breath. I just ran up the hill. Before we start this video, I just want to say I think we're at 12 subscribers now, so fucking sick. I just want to say, you know, thank you for the support, and I know it's not a lot of people for the YouTube world. I know people have got millions and millions of subscribers, but for me, 12. We passed the 10, that's fucking sick. Don't mind my language, I'm just excited. So yeah, I just wanted to say before we started, thank you for watching and thanks for hitting the subscribe button. But anyway, so today I've double checked, and turns out that silver car does have lowering springs. It was my mistake basically. When I was changing the wheels, I just saw black springs and just assumed that they were just standard ones, and then after looking online, I found out that is it iBuck, I don't know, they've only got a tiny little logo like on the spring, so I double checked today and turns out they do have them, so that's sick. So I'm going to try and do that today, take you along for the process. I don't know how I'm going to do it though, because the one in the garage is fine, but my one's on a hill, a pretty aggressive hill, so I don't really care. We'll see. If it falls off, it falls off. I'm not that bothered. I did paint this piece. I know it's really bad, but it's just, I just wanted to see what the colour would be like, and it's a bit different. I don't know, let me know what you think, if I should just send it with that colour or wait and do it properly and get some actual, I think it's, what's the paint code for these grey ones? I think it's LA7T or something. But yeah, that's the plan today. So I'm going to set this up somewhere. I'm going to set the silver one up and get, obviously I only need the rear, I'm going to try and do the rears today for 100%. Obviously I only need the springs out of the rear, I don't really need the shock, so I'm just going to send it and take the springs out. I think all you need is a few jacks and 18mm spanner and an 18mm socket and a breaker bar or an impact or whatever, so we're going to get that done super quick. And yeah, I'll see you in the garage. Right then, so I've got everything set up. You're going to need your jack obviously, 17mm socket or wheel socket for your wheel bolts, 18mm socket and an extension if you need it. I don't think you do, but there you go. 18mm spanner and impact or breaker bar. Now I haven't got much room here. There's a bench thing over there and I've got this suction thing, so I think I'm going to put you on there and do a time lapse of getting the spring out. There's literally tons of videos on how to do it and it's not that hard. Look at that. Look at that. Synced. So yeah, let's set up a time lapse and I will show you when the spring is out. Charles. Alright guys, so spring is out. Bit more of a ball loop than I thought. This was a bit stripped, so the socket wasn't biting onto it, so I've hammered on a 17mm. Now I've got to try and figure out how to get that off, so that should be fun. But here's the spring, as you can see. It's got a tiny little logo on there. Happy days. I think these are 30mm. Doesn't say. But yeah, so happy days. So I'm going to try and get that bolt out and start working on this grey one, and I'll show you the results at the end. Alright, so we're working on the grey one. stock spring is out, and just to show you how horrendous this is, discs are not too bad, but the pads are nearly not horrendous, but you can see these bushings. I've seen better days. The bush at the end of that, it's probably seen better days. Those rear sway bar and bushes have definitely seen better days. I think all of these arms have seen better days, to be honest. So I'm going to make it my mission to replace all of this, because this is horrendous. Oh, and the spring exploded the bottom. I don't know if that's the bottom or the top or what all this shit is, but we're getting there. Right, that is one side done. You can see just in there, I left the logo facing us because why not? So now I've got to put this old one back in the silver one, but before I do that, I've got to try and get this off, and I think it's going to be the end of my socket because she's on there tight. So I'll get back to you when I've put this one back together, turn it around, got the other side off, so on and so forth. I don't know why I do this to myself, to be honest. Really don't. Right, let's get this one sorted out, and then next time I speak to you, it'll be try and take apart the front. Obviously that's a bit more, you've got to take off a bit more to get the struts out, so I'll walk you through that one. This one's literally just one bolt, one nut and bolt. When you put the spring back in, obviously you've got to have another jack or something to jack up the bottom arm, or the spring seat thing, whatever it's called. I use the little scissor jack that's in the car, and I would not recommend that because it's absolute bullshit, but that's all I've got, so making moves. Guys, so it's time to move on to the front. There's a bit more involved than doing the rears. Need quite a little bit more tools, so give you a rundown of what I've got in my tray. Need a hammer, obviously a jack, and maybe another one, some WD, breaker bar, impact, axle stands, a decent set of sockets that go from 8 to 19, so just a decent, you don't need all of them, you just need a decent range, obviously. A few picks, some pliers, a couple of screwdrivers, some multi-splines, either a strut splitter tool, I think they're called, or something just to press in to try and open up that slot. I'll show you in a minute. A ratchet, preferably a 1/2 inch, but I've only got a 3/8 18mm spanner. So extension, you need a 27mm socket for the drive shaft, wire brush to clean everything, and yes, and obviously a 17mm socket, wheel socket for your wheel bolts. So moving on to the first stage, obviously some gloves, because I've worked many times without gloves and it just cuts up your hands and it's not fun. So you want to remove this weather strip in, and then under here you have your strut bolts, which I believe are either, I think they're 13s, but we'll get to that in a minute. You just want to put some WD on them, and then before you jack the car up, you want to remove your center cap and get your 27mm socket on there and break that loose with a breaker bar, and then you can proceed with moving, jacking up the car and removing the wheel. And I'm going to do that now, and I will get back to you when I've done that. So I've broken that loose. I'm just going to put my gloves on. And I'm going to get this car up in the air. Once you've got your wheel removed, obviously you're left with the setup here. So you want to remove the brake, the ABS sensor out of the way, and then have to take your brake line out of this clip, and then just give everything a brush down. You're going to need to remove this drop link or sway bar end link. You want to get that out of the way. You've obviously loosened this, so that can be done when it's ready. I don't think you need to remove this tie rod end, but you do want to remove these 3 bolts from underneath for the ball joint, so the arm, so the knuckle can come out. I think there's 16s, 3 16mm bolts, and then you've got your 18mm nut for the strut there, and I believe there's a multi-spline socket in there. And then you're going to need something to put in between here to open this knuckle up, just so you can slide the shock out. That's where your WD comes in. Right then, shock is out. It's taken me a little bit longer than I thought it would, but that's how it goes. Ran into a few issues where the parts have obviously gotten old, and one of the ball joint studs snapped, so that was fun. I decided just to remove the knuckle, or take everything off the knuckle, to just free up some space and some beating space to get that out, because this is just sits in there, and then this is where you get your tool in there. You can buy them, they're like a little rectangle thing, you put them in like that and twist it so it opens this up. So you've got, so this slides out easier. I did have one, but I've lost it, so it's just how it goes. The caliper was seized on and it did not want to come off, so that was fun. You can see that snap stud there, so I'm gonna have to get a different ball joint. I've got new ball joints, so I'll put the ones that are in the grey one on this, so it's a bit safer, because I want to sell this car and I'm not going to sell it like that, because that's horrendous. As much as I'd like to just leave it. With this window, or the shroud, I thought you could just peel the weather stripping back, but there's a bolt. That back bolt there is an absolute bastard to get to, so I would just recommend removing the wiper. It's held on with a 13mm nut, and then they're tricky to get off, because obviously they've never come off in their life probably, so here on there I bought a little, I don't know where it is, I bought a little wiper separator, which really helped. So a few twists on that. I'll put a link in it in the description. It's only a couple of quid, I think it's a tenner, and it works really well. So do that, because then you've just got enough space then to fit a socket on there. Obviously you can see the iBuck logo on that bad boy, so I'm going to take apart the grey one and faff around with all this. I'll probably leave it at this point. Probably watched enough of me struggling on, so I will see you in the next one, guys. Thank you for watching. Peace.